All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's get started. So go ahead and bring your block to your mat today. Just keep it by your side for a moment, and just do a quick check-in with your body. And close your eyes and feel your feet on the floor. Take a deep breath, and just notice where the weight is between the right and left foot. And we optimally balance the same on both sides. So if you notice that you have weight on a heel on one side or toes on the other, or that you're heavier on the right than the left, or just that there's some kind of difference in where that is or what that feels like, just notice that that's where you're starting today. And then go ahead and stand with your back against the wall, if you've got one available, and then lift and spread your toes wide, and then place your toes back down on the ground. Let your heels be at the wall, your butt be at the wall, your middle back and your head. So all of your load joints from your shoulders to your hips, to your knees, to your ankles, let them just stack. And take a few deep breaths right here. Just noticing where you are in space. And see if you can feel if your shoulder blades are sitting in the same place on your back. Ideally, they should sit pretty flat over your rib cage, and your collarbones should be open. And just check out where that is this morning as we start. And then I want you to start by playing with your toes a little bit today. So let's go pinky toe side of your foot up, and then all the way up to the big toes. And then place your big toes back down on the floor and feel all of the rest of the toes plant back down. Lift the pinky toes up and all the way, each toe to the big toe down, all the way to the pinky. And then go the other way, big toes come up. See if you can keep the pinky toes down, just big toes. All four of the rest of your toes staying down, just big toes up. Yep, now tap the floor 10 times with your big toes. Down and lift. And see, do you have that on both sides? Being able to mess or play with your toes in this way makes the foot muscles work all the way up into the lower leg. And we have to put them in a position where they can fire. And if you don't have control of your big toe, then push off in your gait when you're walking is compromised, as well as absorption of any kind of jump. Big toes down, other toes up. Awesome. Go ahead and take your block and set your block in between your upper inner thighs. So one of the muscles that can start to pull our posture out of alignment is the psoas, and that goes from your low back all the way to the inside of your leg. And I'm going to turn the music down just a little bit. The psoas can alter the position of the pelvis. It's your primary hip flexor. But if it's not working correctly, if it's out of position to be able to work well, then your leg bones can turn, your pelvis can alter its position. So just right now, add your adductors. Think of that connection from the inner thigh through the pelvis all the way to the low back, and just hold that at the wall for a moment. Head gently to the wall, shoulder blades. Often our shoulder blades are a little bit high and rounded forward, and if you can just allow there to be space where the neck goes, hang into that upper inner thigh a little bit. then we're gonna go after a nerve floss. So thighs hugging into that block, bring your arms out to the sides so that they're straight out from your shoulders with your palms up. Then take your head to the left and bring that right arm in, and then come up and go to the other side. So as you go over, let the arm on the side that you're tilting your head away from, move the ear toward the shoulder. And that's like the nerves that are going from your neck down to your arm, the power supply to your arms and your chest and your heart and your lungs. They get to be pulled through a straw. And we want any gunk that might clog up that straw to just move, and a little tug so that there's some flexibility in how that can move. Yep, so really think of ear toward your shoulder. Let the whole side of your neck open, and then up and over and up and over and up. Good, arms down. Now do a head rotation here. So squeeze your upper inner thigh still on your blocks, and then rotate your head all the way to one side, and just feel how far you can go. Back to the center, other side. And in and over. Good. Now go back to your feet. This is going to be more of an awareness than anything, but you have muscles along the arches of your feet, and you can actually like squeeze the heel and the forefoot towards each other. So I basically want you to try to lift your arches by squinching the middle part of your foot together, and see if I have one arch that likes to be more collapsed than the other. And it's much harder for me to even find those muscles. But basically see if you can shorten your feet, like squinch the ball of the foot and the heel together and lift the arch, and then let it flatten back out. And then squeeze it in and lift it back, or let it release back out and squeeze it in. Good. And then one more at the wall while we're here. Fingers super spread. So muscles in the hand, in the wrist, in the forearm, all the way up. Let that be open and wide. Pull the thumb away from the pointer, pointer away from the middle, middle away from the ring, pinky. And then press the whole arm into the wall and feel what your shoulder blades do. Can you find muscles behind your shoulder blades while your head, your middle back, and your butt still stay touching the wall? Press, and then release those muscles. Press, release. We're after a more even tone on the back side of your body. Press. You can press pretty hard, that whole arm. Maybe you have one shoulder blade that slides easily and one that doesn't. If you are right-handed, maybe that's an asymmetry that you've got. Okay, then take your chin, drop it down. We're pulling on those nerves again. Bring it forward. That's going to pull on the entire line of fascia all the way down to the heels. 10 more presses, fingers spread super, 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 super wide. Try to pull your whole hand apart. Find the muscles that abduct the fingers away from each other. Take a really deep breath in your rib cage. East-west breath, expanding out to the side. And then come up, flip your hands over, and do the same thing. Super spread on the wall. Press the entire arm into the wall. Feel the difference between the right and left side and see what you can do to make it more even. Press, release. Press, release. What's working? Where are the muscles that are working? And are they similar between the right and left? And then once again, drop your head. So tuck and then let it slide and press again. then bring your head up. One more since we have the block. I want you to imagine you're lying on the floor, and then it's really like an abdominal exercise. I want you to rotate your body off the wall, but keeping it there. Reach that other hand, so it's a bit of a rotation, and then take it back. Go to the other side. Reach, curl, keep your hips on the wall. Your upper body gets to do that rotation. Find your obliques, find the muscles that twist your spine. Take it back to the wall. Exhale, rotate. Start to let the upper body separate from the lower body. And then take one small step forward. Okay, we're gonna work into the shoulder. So shoulder rotations. Let's go fists. Squeeze your hands into a bit of a fist so that you're still activating muscles all the way into the hand and the wrist. And then bring them straight out from your shoulders. And then find rotation in the shoulder joint. So as you rotate, the shoulder blade should stay pretty still as the arm bone rotates, and very often we get muscles that start to glom onto each other on the back side of the shoulder. So as you rotate, you'll feel the shoulder blade want to move. But see if you can stabilize the shoulder blades and just rotate the arm bones. And then choose different angles in the arm bone where you can do some of those. Crunches in mine. Anybody else have some popcorn in there? Breathe. Find a few more angles, maybe behind you a little bit more. Awesome. You could choose to be at the wall or away from the wall for this one. Arm glides. So keep squeezing your upper inner thighs. Reach one arm all the way up. That right side of your body gets to do that whole rotation. The shoulder blade has to rotate, go all the way up towards your ear, and then let the shoulder blade slide down. Take it up and come down. All the way up, down. One more each side. Good. Everybody step away from the wall if you haven't. Let your arms just go down. So we've done head down, we've done head rotations. Let's take the head back. Make sure your ears go over your shoulders first, and then just lift your chin up. Let the neck go into that extension. There's two extension faults that we can have in our neck. So as your head goes forward, often you could be hyper extended in this position, even if your head is forward. So everybody usually needs to help bring their head back a little bit before we work on the extensor muscles to lift that up. Do a few of those. Ears back over your shoulders, chin lengthening, look up. Breathe. One more. Awesome. Go ahead and take your block away. Stand on your mat. Go into some shoulder rolls up and back and around, taking it lower into the body. See if you can still have awareness of your feet and that middle arch place, the space between the ball of the foot and the heel, kind of squeezing in towards each other, especially if you're somebody that has flatter arches. If your arches are super high, maybe think of spreading your foot out a little more. But do you have access to those muscles at the bottom of your foot? Backwards again, 10 times. We often work on the upper back because if there's a disparity at the pelvis, one side of your pelvis doing something different than the other, then that moves up a lot into the thoracic back and kind of gets locked. And if we can't have the upper back talk to the pelvis, then we're not getting all the way through. The message isn't going all the way through. Come into a triangle position. So yeah, let's go. Turn your right toes forward. Good, arms out to the side. And then shift your hip back. So do a few just pelvic shifts. Just feel, how does your pelvis and leg bone, when you turn it like this, work together? Good. Shift your hips way back and then bring your hand down somewhere on your leg or to your block would be fine. Or all the way to the floor. If your stance is pretty wide, you could get to the floor. Nice. This upper arm, I want you to take it down, bring it to the leg, and then rotate it, lift it, pull the shoulder blade up onto your back, open it up. Again, exhale, come down. Inhale, let your body turn, rotation, lift, up to the sky. One more of those. Use your breath. And then stay in this stance, get strong in your legs, come up. We're gonna go over again, 5 windmills in this triangle. Take it over, make sure to push that back hip out, come up. Good, back hip moving backwards, sliding down. As you let that flexibility come in to that front leg, that hamstring lets go. See if you can get lower and lower. One more. And then hang out there and breathe. Come on up. Switch your legs. So front leg bisecting that back arch, pretty wide stance. Feel first the movement in your pelvis. So spine stays relatively stable. Yeah, how does, when we have this really unilateral hip position, one leg's in extension, the foot's turned, one hip's still in flexion, how does the pelvis get to move around the thigh bones when you're there? And then go ahead and take it into your triangle. So push that back hip way back, bring it down, open it up. And then when you're ready, bring your top hand toward your front leg. Let it rotate through your spine and then take it back up. Let's do that 5 times. Moving with your breath. And then strong legs, hug them towards each other. Come up and take it over, sliding down. Come on up. And over. And then down both hands to the floor. Round and arch your back. Cats and dogs. Come to neutral. Start with your head and just do one that you're really articulating the spine at each level. See how much control you can have. So let your head come down. Push your shoulder blades apart. Round through your upper back. Then see if you can bring it into your mid back. And then finally allow your belly muscles to engage. Feel them work. And go spinal flexion through the abdominals. Find that rectus abdominis that hooks up in the ribs down to the pubic bone, and then tailbone down toward the floor. You could even squeeze your glutes to get all the way into flexion. And then let your pelvic floor go wide apart. Tip the pelvis forward like you're pouring water out of your belly. Let the arch come into your low back. Move gently through your middle back up into your shoulders. Finally, ears come back over your shoulders, head up. Do a couple like that, just slowly. Head comes forward and slides, then up through middle back, spine, feel the belly, round pelvis, tailbone, then start at the tailbone, low back, arches, through the middle, between the shoulders, and head up. Do you have segments of your spine where you don't feel like you have much control? It just moves like a big chunk. That may be places where you've had injuries or swelling or something where that kind of base layer of muscle got shut down and you have secondary muscles or compensating muscles that take over. And that's just a less precise movement. We want to get that base layer to turn back on so that you have a lot of control between all of the segments. And then come down onto your belly. Fold your hands underneath your forehead. So when we move the right side of the body differently than the left, we're working on that entire line of fascia that moves from one side to the other. So I want you to start with your left leg and do a hamstring curl. Relax your shoulders completely. Pull it all the way up and try to touch your heel to your butt. I was watching the women's, I don't know, the longest women's race or the steeplechase or something. Their kicks are all the way almost to their butt when they're running. It was pretty cool. So up and down. You have muscles that are deep in the knee that help determine the position of the knee and the lower leg. And some of those can't activate until you're all the way into flexion. So go all the way up, squeeze it, let the thigh lengthen, let the hamstring shorten, point your toes. Yeah, feel those muscles at the bottom of your foot again. That where I said pull the arch of the foot toward the heel of the foot. This is a place where that stiffness can be worked on. And then back down. Keep going, do about 10 of those. I think I'm on 3. Really relax your shoulders. Great, other side. Point those toes, feel the foot. Feel the muscles in the arch of the foot. Curl it up, find the muscles in the knee. Deep, deep, deep muscles in the knee that help to flex the leg even more. And then bring it back down. All the way up. And down. Okay, first side again, 10 more. You can go a little faster this time, but still find the muscles in the knee when you go all the way up. Let the quad lengthen as far as it'll go. Let that hamstring shorten. Feel the arch. Even the arch across your toes. You have arches that go the length of your toes from the big toe toward the little toe, as well as the two arches that run the length of your foot on the inside and the outside. Good, switch again. All right, roll over. Let's address any hip disparity that might be in there still. So grab your block and with your feet on the floor and your knees bent, let your arms just go out to the side. Put your block between your knees. Squeeze and release your block 20 times. Hug on that block. Squeeze, release. Feel your pelvis on the ground, the arch in your back. Make sure your ribs and your hips are in alignment, arms out to the sides. Squeeze the muscles on the inside of your leg to help determine the position of the leg bone in the hip, and release. Squeeze, release. See if you can tell if you have both sides acting evenly. Notice if one side takes a little longer to show up to the party. Once you've done 20, hug that with constant pressure. So now we're going to make a close kinetic chain. Our feet are on the ground. We're creating more activation by holding the adductors. I want you to move the pelvis forward and backwards in a pelvic tilt. Flatten your back to the floor and then arch your back while you're squeezing in on that block. And see how high of an arch you can create in your back and then flatten all the way. So about control again, we're just giving you more points of contact to be able to help with that control. So hopefully there's a pretty even and easy pelvic tilt right now. Movement through the spine, leg bones, stable. Okay, take your block and set it by your side. Take your legs up to the sky. You're gonna do a stag. So the right leg is gonna stay straight as the left leg bends and comes out. Your core is gonna have to activate as you hold that. Really let the knees go wide and then pull it back together. This is a Pilates move. We're borrowing from Pilates. Now do the opposite. So the left leg stays straight, the right leg bends out to the side, and both legs move wide and then pull them back together. So there's a difference between the weight of your legs as you change the lever. Switch each time, pull it back together. Out wide and together. Feel that squeeze of the inside of your legs as you go out, stag, together, stag, together. Few more. All right, I believe this one was called a herky when we were like cheerleaders. One in, one out. Try to touch your heels. Is that right? For those of you that were in cheer or something. Try to touch your heels, go legs straight. Then other side, both heels go, one hand touches one heel, one hand touches the other. So that's a big rotation in the hip while the whole pelvis stays stable. Down, heel to hands, stretch them back up. Heel to hands, stretch them back up. If you were to jump and try to hit your heels, arms up over your head, down. The longer the lever, the more your core has to do. Excellent. Back up to your hands and knees. Come all the way to kneeling. You're going to take your right leg into a big lunge. I want you to move into a lunge. Then with a stable core, take it back. Take the leg behind you, hands to the floor, lift the leg back up. So you're moving on this left hip, the right leg, bend into that hip position, take it back. So we're working the psoas, we're working your stabilizers. Let's do this 10 times. Forward, back, leg high. Switch sides. Big lunge. Feel how that lunge is in your hips today. Open them up. Push back. Control it. Lift the leg up. 10 more on this side. And then cats and dogs once again. Round and arch. Hopefully that's feeling much more smooth than when we started. Come down onto your belly. You choose your level of extension today. That might be right here with 2 hands underneath your chin and breathing. That might be up on your elbows and relaxing your shoulders completely, letting that middle back go in. This is a place where it's variable for everybody. It may feel fine to you to come up onto your hands and open it up. Feel where it is in your body. Shoulder blades move down, middle back moves in, lengthen the psoas. Hang out there for a moment and breathe. And then back to your hands and knees. Plant it on your hands and knees. Take your right hand, put it behind your head. Right elbow to the left. And then open up your thoracic back. Hips are going to be stable. Turn at the level of the rib cage. Take that up. Breathe. Come back down. 10 times. switch. Hand behind your head, left elbow to right arm, and up. And then go round again. Go child's pose. Go ahead and feet together, knees together, unless you really want your knees apart. And just bring your whole body into that full flexion. 3 deep breaths. Big, filling the space in this upper back. Allowing the rounding to happen. Lumbar erectors, getting to have some length as you do find that length, that place where the top of your thighs and your pelvis hit and your tailbone moves down toward the floor. And then come up and have a seat. Extend your legs out straight. And take the right leg and place it over the left. Pull it all the way in. Take your right hand behind you and pull yourself into a twist. Allow the twist to happen by the muscles actually contracting and moving the spine, not a push at the elbow, but feel that rotation move up through your whole spine. The low back, not moving too much, mid and upper back moving a lot, all the way into finally your head and neck. Find your breath. Let the connection of the thoracic back, that I said before, move all the way down to the low back. So more mobility in the upper back so that we have stability in the low back and we don't wear out our discs. We keep healthy tissue, healthy discs. Untwist. Switch side. Pull that leg in. Rotate and breathe. Untwist. Come onto your back. Grab your strap this time. Place your strap around your upper thighs, above your knees. Feel the curves come into your neck and your low back. and the gentle rounding of your upper back in this place. And then press out against the strap. So find your abductors. Out against the strap. Should be kind of in the deep space in your butt muscles. Press, hold, and release. Press and hold and release. Let's go hands behind your head, just so we really let that upper back open as much. The shoulder blades rotate and pull. And then lift your hips off the floor, feet on the floor, all the way up and down. Lift and lower. Let's do that for 20. And then set your hips down again. Press and release. Once more. Press. Let go. See if it's even again. As you pull out, ideally, the muscles on the right and left side will feel similar. If you have one hip that's changed its position in the socket, or even the socket itself structurally has shifted a little bit, it might feel different. See what you can do to get it to be as even as possible. And then up on your toes and back on your heels. Rocking chair, all the way up, all the way back. Feel again the arches of your feet one last time. Through the ankle, into the knee, from the knee into the hip, from the hips into the connection into the spine or the sacrum, all the way up into your upper middle back, into where your shoulders connect, and the arm bone and the curvature of the neck, where the curvature of the neck meets your head. Last set of presses, 10 more, press out against that strap. Actually, just press and hold it. Don't do 10, just press and hold it. Take 3 more deep breaths. See if you can move air into spaces in your lungs you haven't quite been able to before. And release. You decide your position for your meditation today into seated, or staying here on your back. You can take your legs out into like a shavasana position, all the way out. You decide. Continue to pay attention to your breathing. Notice the sensation of your physical body on the floor. Expand your awareness of your physical body out to your energetic body and your emotional body. And whether your eyes are open or closed today, allow whatever arises in the space in this moment to just be noticed. There's a gentle reminder that being takes no effort. You already are fully and exactly as you are right here, right now. Just feel into that. Feel into your being in this present moment. If you can drop back one more time. A lot of releasing just to be aware of awareness itself. Knowing that the conditioning, the memory that keeps your physical body moving and functioning is happening without your attention. The connection between your being and your body through breath happens on its own. What else is there? What's beyond conditioning? notice that there's a joyful peace. It's also healing to have awareness of that space, to go into the quiet. In the last minute, just allow your physical body to be surrounded by light. Let any bit of healing that needs to happen be there so that your cells can have the memory to be in perfect harmony with each other, so that all of that basic functioning can continue to happen in exactly the way that it needs to. Perfect health. Take one breath and just breathe that intention into your body. And whatever other intention you may have for your day. Namaste. Surface as you need to. Those of you at home, thank you so much for being here this morning. I will work on that email. Have an awesome day.